Hey guys, my name is Alex, otherwise known on YouTube as Reality Ally. However, YouTube actually deleted my channel, which had over 1,000 subscribers. So now I'm bouncing around, floating from Gmail account to Gmail account, and they keep deleting them. So this video is not monetized. It is purely for entertainment purposes. And if you like me and you like what you see, be sure to remember the name Reality Ally, RealityAlly, okay? For lots of stuff and updates and everything like that. So, I'm recording this video because I am a Big Brother super fan and nobody has recorded this video yet today, and I'm shocked. And I know that Maddie's away on Mad Roast and her mom is doing the updates tonight, and I don't know if she's going to get all the juicy stuff. So, where do we start? Okay, so Paul and HOH, mad about that. Let me explain something. Last season, I hated Paul in the beginning, okay? By the end of the season, I was Team Paul. And even though I loved Nicole in her season, I didn't like how she had become with Corey. I didn't like that she wasn't playing the game at all. So I was actually mad when Nicole beat Paul, even though on her season, she was one of my favorite players. So let me explain to everybody who's like, oh, F Cody, Team Paul, he's playing the game, you have to lie and manipulate. True. But Paul's popularity is based off of friendship, loyalty, and honesty. Last season, he was fucked over so many times by other players. He was put on the block when he was promised he'd be safe. He was screwed over. Every time he was on the block, he was able to pull himself down and survive, I think, like 6 nominations. And he was like the underdog, and he was funny, and he was eccentric, and that's why everybody loved him. This season, he comes into the house with the friendship bracelets, okay? Um, Cody got screwed. CBS screwed him with the 5 nominations. His nominations were Jillian and Megan. He went after Megan. That's who he wanted out the first week, not Christmas and Paul. After all the nominations that he put up got taken down, then he went after Paul. What you all need to remember, if you want to go back and rewatch the first episode of BB18, is that when Nicole, Davon, Frank, and James came back into the house, the very first episode, Paul went into the DR, and one of his first DR sessions on the very first episode, once they got into the house, was these vets gotta go. They had their chance, they blew it, they gotta go. So, why did he take it so personally when Cody thought the same thing? He had his chance. Not only did he have his chance, he got $50,000. He came in second. He didn't get kicked off number 4, number 5, number 2, number 1. Okay, he got second place and got 50 grand. So, like, yeah, he did have his chance, and the jury, his own peers, chose Nicole. So why is he getting a second chance? CBS made the biggest mistake bringing him back, because now he really is a snake. And the thing is, week 1, like, everybody is a stranger, okay? You don't know these people. You have no loyalty to them. You're trying to figure out the game. Cody went into the house not liking him as a player. Cody did not make an official alliance with anyone. They were just like friends. It was just like a numbers thing. But it was not an official alliance. Like, oh, we're going to be the final 8 or we're going to be the final 10 or anything like that. It was before he made his first nominations of Jillian and Megan. It was, okay, we're all going to work together for now. And they wanted to do it week to week. So after the whole Megan self-eviction thing, that kind of went out the window, because I mean, that was considered his week 1 nominations. He got screwed putting up a quarter of the house. So, okay, so not only did Paul on his season say, get the bets out immediately, they had their chance. Paul did have his chance. He came in second. He got $50,000. But they were not like an official team. You want to know who was an official team, though? Dominique and Paul and the rest of them. They were an official team. So Paul's so offended by Cody putting him in Christmas Hub because they were his teammates. But let me see. They all got Cody out of the house. Touche. So Cody comes back into the house after winning 3 battles, which were difficult. I mean, like, we're not in the game. We don't know how hard they really are. But I'm telling you, they're not as easy as they look. And with that puzzle, Cody didn't know if Paul had played that puzzle before. You know what I'm saying? Like, last season, they used to do stuff with, like, the pulley system and mazes and stuff like that. So he did take a risk. going against anybody with that puzzle because anybody could have beaten him and his ball could have fallen in a hole and he could have been out. So no, he really didn't have an advantage. Paul had the advantage having played this game before. So I don't want to lose my train of thought because there's so much I want to say. So okay. I'm so sorry, guys. Hold on, let me brainstorm. Oh, it won't pause. Okay, so anyways, all right. So, oh yeah, Paul screwed over Dominique. That was his teammate. They had so many heart to hearts. She divulged secrets. He divulged secrets. Like they knew each other. And he completely put a target on her back for nothing. That was so grimy. He is a snake, okay? That made me start to see his true colors. He turned the entire house against her. And the issue is why these people are such stupid sheep. They're following somebody that they think is the Paul from BB-18, who's loyal, a great friend, is always going to have your back. He's the one that always ends up getting screwed. That's who they think they're following. They don't know what a snake he has turned into. And when they watch it back and see the live feeds and see the episodes, they're going to feel so fucking stupid for having blindly followed him like sheep. It's like they're following a wolf in sheep's clothing, okay? The way he runs around from room to room, having a conversation with this one, a conversation with that one. Have you guys noticed that when he talks to somebody, everybody's quiet and they just listen, and it's just like Paul, like talking to them, not talking with them, talking to them, telling them what to do, giving them orders. And these people come into the house day one and they're like, "Oh, I'm ready to play the game. I'm ready to play Big Brother." You wanting to play the game and make yourself stand out would have been you guys all taking out Paul as soon as his safety was over. Like, gotta go, bud. Bye. I hope you enjoyed your 50 grand. So it's like, none of these people, with the exception of Jess and Cody, are even going to be remembered after this season. They're going to be known as the sheep who followed Paul Abrahamian all season long, and that's it. And they're all going to be kicking themselves in the ass. I cannot stand Alex. I cannot not stand Jason. He couldn't have a more fitting job as a clown because the guy's freaking ridiculous. Okay, oh my god, y'all watch. I don't need to get into it. Y'all know how stupid he is. The name I want to call him, I just double thought it. I'm not going to say that on the internet. So anyways, so let me update you on what's been happening. But I just want you to keep that stuff in mind because I'm Team Jody all the way. Cody is a Marine. He served 2 branches of the military. He deserves our respect, and he deserves those house guest respect. And they don't give him anything. They question his military service. They say he's lying because of movies. Guess what, idiots? Movies are based on real life. Real life is not based on movies. Get that straight. Number 2, who in the fuck is Paul? Did you say, was he even in the military? Which he said last night in the live feeds. Dude, are you out of your effing mind? Who does that? I hope America shoves their foot so far up this little bearded Napoleon complex piece of shit's ass when he gets out of that house. He is in there right now thinking, "Oh, America loves me. I'm so funny. Everybody loves it." Nah, bro. Everybody's hating it, and everybody looks at you as a sinister freaking villain. And it's like, in the past couple weeks, like since the Dominique thing, Paul, like his appearance, he used to look like, to me, he used to look like out of the box and crazy outfits and like fun. And now it's like he looks like more dark and sinister. It's like his eyes look darker. He has like an evil, mean look in his face. Like, I don't know. He's just like completely changed for me. And I was Team Paul. After Cody put him up and I felt like he was betrayed, I wanted him to win that Candy Crush HOH. And I was so happy when he did. And then, when they got Cody out, I didn't want Cody to leave because I love Cody. And I think the training thing, people need to get the fuck over that because he didn't say he didn't like them or death to them. He is a conservative Texas veteran who doesn't know the proper pronouns or terminology, and people need to get the fuck over it because phobia is hating somebody and disliking them. Using an abbreviated term that transgender people refer to themselves as, example, Blair White, Jeffree Star has called himself a tranny. Many people have. It's like, get over it. But the same thing as Donald Trump. People just find a reason to hate people and call them anything that ends in IST or phobic. Moving on, I'm not going to make this political. So, okay. So, yeah. Like, get over it, Paul. You got Cody out. He came back. It should have been a clean slate because they both took a shot at each other. Paul won, okay? He got Cody out of the house for a week. But Cody came back, same as Victor did. And if Victor hadn't came back on BB18, Paul would not have made it as far as he did. He made it as far as he did because of all the HOHs that Victor won and didn't put him up on. Okay, so without those battle backs, Paul would have been screwed and he would have been kicked out in the beginning of the game had Victor not kept coming back. So, and then they all think that Josh is going to get America's favorite player. Oh my God. Okay. So now let's get into the feeds. So, Paul and HOH, you guys all saw that. Then last night they had the nomination ceremony. Before the nomination ceremony, everybody was saying, oh, okay, so actually let me start after Thursday, after live show. After live show, Paul, Jess, and Cody go on the APSR and they're talking about why they voted Ramses out, and Paul's trying to manipulate them, be like, the whole house wanted it. No, you wanted it, and you made the whole house follow your lead. So they're all talking about why Ramses was a better player to get out, and he was a threat, and Josh wasn't. And, Jess and Cody are just sitting there like, oh, okay, well, you should have told us that. You should have told us that anyway. Like, why are we left out when we did what the house wanted by not going after a bigger target? And, Paul just kept up with his bullshit and just lying and manipulating. So then Paul starts to talk to everybody, goes up to the HOH room, and he's like, I'm calling their bluff. I don't believe that she has safety. I don't believe that she has any of this. Or else she wouldn't have said that, and Julie wouldn't have reacted that way, and Julie wouldn't have signed off immediately. And pretty much he's getting everybody to start thinking that Jess is lying about having the temptation or what the temptation is. And Alex, who I hate, kept saying, oh, well, if it was 4 weeks safety, why would they give that to her and not to you, Paul? Like literally thinking in her head that America loves this dude so much he's just gonna get everything, when really in reality she's dumb and doesn't realize that we voted week to week for each temptation. But clearly America voted for Jessica for a reason, because of what y'all are doing to them. So yeah, but like Alex, every single time it's brought up about like comparing Paul's temptation to Jessica's temptation, she's like, America wouldn't have given the best one to her. They would have given it to you, Paul. Like, suck his dick a little bit more, okay? Make sure you wipe your mouth when you're done. So anyways, okay, so he's up there, like, telling everybody, telling all the sheep that, I don't believe her, this and that. I'm going to put them up and I'm going to see what happens. I'm calling her bluff. So he told that to Mark and Elena, he told it to Maven, he told it to everybody. And everybody's like, yeah, Paul, do it. Some of them were like throwing hypotheticals at each other, like, well, what if this is the case? What if this is the case? A couple of them did say, like, what if it's a reset week? What if it's dud? And Paul was like, oh, I don't think that they would do that. They wouldn't do that to me right before jury. Somebody has to go. And he is just so dumb. Okay, so, he's conspiring behind their backs. Jess and Cody at this point think that they're not going on the block. So then, the rest of the night, they're all just hanging out. Jess and Cody moved to the Rose bedroom. And yeah, so last night was very, very, very interesting. So last night was nominations. Paul puts Jess and Cody on the block. Apparently, right before nominations, Jess had gone to him and been like, if you have any questions, you can ask me, and he didn't want to ask her anything. So he makes nominations, the feeds are down, then the feeds come back, and Jess and Cody and Paul are in the HOH room with Paul. And this, I'm sure you guys have seen clips of this on YouTube already. If not, you can search it. Thought Vomit is a really good channel that has really good clips. It's Thought, THOGHT VOMIT. So yeah, so they're in the HOH room. Paul's like, well, the whole house wanted me to do it. And Jessica's like, you shouldn't have done that, Paul. I told you shouldn't have done it. You just fucked up. You just made such a bad move and a mistake. And Cody's like, do you always listen to what the house tells you to do, Paul? You're the one in power. I'm sick of you treating these motherfuckers like they're your dogs. And I'm sick of you going around like you're the best Big Brother player and you've been in this house 100 and something days. And Paul's like, I have been in this house 100 and something days. Good for you, Paul. And they're going back and forth. And then Paul tells Jessica to lower her voice. Cody doesn't like that because it's like they see how he treats the rest of the house guests like dogs and literally is the boss of everybody. And he's not going to let this little tiny man talk to his girlfriend like that. So Cody's like, don't dare ever fucking tell Jessica to shut her mouth or be quiet or lower her voice. And then Paul and Cody start arguing with each other. Cody calls Paul a loser. I was like, yes! With my popcorn, like, yes! And he calls him a loser. And then Paul's like, get out, bro. Get out of my room. And then as Cody is walking out the door, not when he's in front of Paul's face, Paul calls Cody, a Marine and Air Force veteran who's been to Iraq and Afghanistan, an emotional pussy. Cody turned around so fucking quick and he was like, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? What the fuck are you gonna do about it, Paul? What the fuck are you gonna do? Like, Cody would lay Paul the fuck out. Oops, I dropped my microphone. Drop the mic on Cody telling Paul to go fuck himself. Or telling him fuck you. So anyways, yeah, so they like get in each other's faces, it gets heated, and Paul's like, oh, it's a television show, I'm not gonna get arrested. But in reality, Cody would fucking like curb stomp that dude, okay? Like Paul, I hate him at this point. I hate him so much. Okay, so they're arguing. Jess pulls Cody out of the room. He comes downstairs. Paul follows him out of the room now because all the house guests are downstairs watching, and he has to put on a show. He's like, oh, are you 26? Or are you 32? Or are you 12? Like, talking shit. And at this point, Cody's just ignoring him. He walks down the stairs with Jess. Jess and Cody go into a room. I forget which room. They go into a room and they start to argue. Meanwhile, Paul's the court jester in the kitchen with all the idiots, and Josh starts bringing up how Cody got in his face because he lied to him about the vote the first week, and they all start collectively talking shit about Cody, and Josh starts yelling like, nobody likes you, Meatball, you going home, and Mark, meanwhile, is the only one sitting at that big-ass table, sitting there just like this, just listening to everybody. So, okay, so in the other room, Cody and Jess start arguing. Jess is like, that is unacceptable. That is inappropriate. You cannot behave that way. And Cody's like, what the fuck did I do wrong? He's a court jester. He just puts on this character for TV. Like, I don't like the dude. I hate him. And they start arguing. And then they go their separate ways. And Jess goes into the bathroom and lays down on the couch in the bathroom with a blanket. And Cody goes into the HOH room. I'm not into the have not room. So Jess is in the bathroom. Paul goes in there, sits down, starts talking to her, starts being like, listen, dude, everybody likes you, but I'm not going to talk to him anymore because he's a child. He acts like a child. I'm not going to have conversations with him. I'm not going to talk game with him. I'm not ever going to work with him. That olive branch is cut in half. It's never going to be repaired. And so Jess is just sitting there listening to everything that he's saying, and Paul's like trying to get more information. Paul's trying to get more information. I'm in my daughter's room because my computer's in her room right now. Paul's trying to get more information on what the hex is. He wants to know the details of it. And she's like explaining it but being vague. And she's like, your HOH week is going to be a dud because nobody's going home. And he's like, so be it. The whole house wanted me to put you guys up, so I had to see what the temptation was, and I had to bring it out. And the only way I could do that was by nominating you guys. So they're sitting there for maybe like a good 15 minutes having a talk. He's just trying to manipulate her the whole time. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Josh continues to go on and on talking crap about Cody. And Mark told him to shut the fuck up. Shut the F up. I'm not going to curse anymore because she's awake. Mark told him to shut the F up. So then they start arguing with each other while all the house guests are around. So, Josh has to put on a circus to try to get attention. So Mark and Josh are arguing in the kitchen, and Mark's like telling him, oh, why don't you say this stuff to Cody's face? He's 3 rooms away. You're talking about him and he can't even hear you. Josh is like, anything I say about Cody, I said to his face already. And like, it's like, okay, bro, not really. You've said meatball, and that's about it. And called him a coward, which to call him Marine a coward is a freaking joke. But yeah, so they start getting like more hype, and then Mark starts laughing at Josh, and Josh's like, oh, you think it's funny? You think it's funny? Oh, you think it's funny, meatball? So Josh picks up the 2 pans, trying to be evil dick. Nobody in this game will ever be evil dick. Love evil dick, by the way. And Josh starts looking like one of those freaking wind-up monkeys. He's like smashing the pans together and like kicking his legs out in front of him like this. So he's like this and like this at the same time with his legs. It's like, one of those wind-up monkeys with the I don't know, the freaking, the things. So where do you like smash it together? And that's literally what he looks like as he's going do 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 do, like this stupid circus music. So Mark jumps up from the table because Josh got right in his face, banging the pans as hard as he freaking could, like boom, 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 right in Mark's face. And Mark's sitting at the table trying to stay calm. When Josh got that close, Mark jumped up, ran at him. Josh backed up real quick, like the little coward that he is. Mark grabbed the pans away from him and like screamed something like, "Get the pans out of my," and then the feeds cut and it went to the "we'll be right back" fish scene. So then we get back from that, and I guess production told them like go to separate ends of the house, like don't have anything to do with each other. So we get back from that, and Jess went in. Let me think. All the idiots are still in the kitchen, just running their mouths, just talking crap. But Mark's no longer in there. Mark got called to the DR, and Jess now at this point went to go try to talk to Cody, and she goes into the have-not room. He's laying on the bed, and no, Jess went to lay on their bed, the round bed in the rose room. Christmas had came in there and talked to her and laid down on the bed with her and talked for like a good like 20-25 minutes, telling her like she'd be better in this game without Cody, and trying to ask her about the hex and trying to be like, you're going to be my friend when we leave this house, right? Ugh, I can't stand Christmas. I don't like any of them on that side. I wanted Christmas to go home the first week. You know what? Karma's a bitch. She broke her leg because she was straddling somebody else's husband. So I have no pity for her for breaking her leg. That's inappropriate. Amanda's married. She's always like showing her boobs to him and Kevin, and it's just like she's the type of woman that like you have to watch out for. She's 35 and single, and an old maid, and has no kids, and she's mad about it, and so she won't come on to other people's husbands. And if I was watching My Man in the House, I would go outside that Big Brother house with a megaphone, and I'd be like, Jason, this is your wife. You better not touch her. Look at that bitch again, or else I swear to God, you won't have a family to come home to. So I'm happy that she broke her leg, ankle, whatever. Quite honestly, I don't think she's a nice person. And yeah, so Christmas is in bed with Jessica, trying to manipulate her, trying to like be like, well, you're not gonna be a target if Cody's out of this house. The question that I want every single person that is said to is to ask whoever's saying it to you, well, if I'm not the target, who will be the target? Like when Paul tells Elena and Mark, when Elena, oh no, I'll get to that. But Christmas is telling Jessica, like, you're not going to be a target. Jess should have been like, so if I'm not going to be the target and Cody's gone, who is going to be the target? And Christmas would have been like, I don't know who's going to be HOH, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's think about it. They've all been working together for over a month now. You think they're going to pick off each other before picking off you? You got lucky that week with Dominique. She was going to expose Paul, and she was exposing Paul. That's the only reason why they kicked her out over Jess. Because Dominique was on to Paul, and she was seeing right through him. So anyway, so Christmas and Jessica are sitting there talking. At the end of the conversation, they hug it out. Jess is like, thank you so much for talking to me. So during that conversation, though, Cody came into the rose room and got his stuff from next to the bed. Didn't say a word to Jess, didn't look at her, nothing. He's like one of those guys who, like, when you guys fight and get into like a bad argument, it's like he's just gonna ignore you. He's not the type of guy who's gonna divulge his feelings and apologize, and he's so sorry and he loves you, he doesn't want to fight. He is just going to turn his emotions off and be like stone face. I don't care, you can come to me. And I'm kind of worried about that because I want them to last. I want to see them get married. I love them together, but they're just so different, and I feel like she will get very aggravated with a man like that who's not in touch with his feelings and who like won't talk to her when he messes up. I mean, like it was stupid how he was acting, but at the same time, like he literally has everybody against him. All he was doing was defending her in the HOH room, and then it's like she's mad at him, and I think that he's like embarrassed because by her not being with him immediately after that Paul thing, And by her separating herself from him, first being in the bathroom talking to Paul and then talking to Christmas, I think that made him feel stupid because it's like, you're my girlfriend. Like, they're official boyfriend girlfriend. They're not just his showmans. They're boyfriend girlfriend, and they're in love with each other. They tell each other I love you, and it's like, you're talking to my enemies when you're not talking to me and making sure I'm okay when I just got into it with somebody. Um, so he got his stuff and went in there. She got so upset about that. So after she was done talking to Christmas, she goes in the HOH room. He's like, I keep saying HOH, the have not room. He's laying on the bed. She's like, really? Is that what you're going to do? Just get your stuff and leave? And he's like, Jess, you told me that when you get mad that you want time to yourself and you want space. And see, that's the problem as women. We'll like tell a guy, like, leave me alone, leave me alone. But it's like, really, guys, to all men out there, when we tell you that, we really, maybe not Elena. She's weird. She like doesn't have feelings. She says she does, but I don't think she does. Um, when we tell you to leave us alone, we really, really, really want you to come and make sure we're okay and to show us that you care and to not just shut down and act like it's our fault when you do something wrong. Even if we're mad at you, stay away maybe for the first couple of minutes, but then come in and be like, babe, I love you. I'm really sorry. Let's talk about it. Okay? Guys make the biggest mistake when they act like they don't care when they're wrong. Because then a girl's like, okay, well, if you don't care, you don't care about me. So, and I deal with that with my husband. Like, we're complete opposites, and he'll do that when we get into a fight. And it drives me freaking crazy. It's like, come and talk to me and own up to what you did wrong. And now Cody was apologizing to Jess, and he was like, I'm so sorry, Jess. I messed up your game. I don't want to ruin your game anymore. Um, and he was like genuinely upset, but like he has a very hard time showing his emotions, and also because he's been to war. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be an emotional person when you're at war. You have to like leave everything at home, and like when you go out every day, you're risking your life. You might die today, never see your daughter, your mother, your father, anybody ever again, and you have to be okay with that because that's what you signed up for. And it's like, that's a huge reason why I think he's not good at showing his emotions and why he doesn't connect with people socially is because he's been to war. He's not like a social outgoing person to begin with, and then you add being to war with that, and it messes you up as a person. But it's like, what I love about Jessica is that like she sees his good qualities and she loves him for him, and I love and respect her so much for that. So during that conversation, it didn't get anywhere. They kept talking in circles about, he was like, you wanted me to leave you alone, and she was like, well, that was unacceptable, and now you're not giving me anything. How are you going to act like you can't do anything for me? I think that he told her, like, he was like, I can't make you happy, Jess. You have these standards that you want me to live by. I can't change who I am. And she asked him, is that how you act in the real world? And he said, yeah, it is. Like, and I completely see that. Like, if a guy messes with him at a bar or something, he's gonna fucking knock him out, and he's gonna go off. And she has a problem with that because her job, she's like LA social scene, like she like brushes elbows with like the who's who in Hollywood, and it's like she's worried of people in that deal with her job, her clients, that they'll see the show and they'll be like, why would you associate yourself with somebody who gets so mad and aggressive over a game? And so she got so sick and tired of him just laying on the bed. She was so irritated that he was just laying on the bed acting like he didn't care. When really he was sitting there, and people were saying that he was crying. I didn't see that, but people were saying that he was crying, and he could have been, because he's probably one of those people that gets so fucking mad after the way Paul disrespected him, calling him the P word, that like he might have teared up, and then he felt like he disappointed Jess, and he felt alone, and like I feel very bad for the guy. These house guests, you can like consider him a threat and not want him in the house on a game level, but on a personal level, what has he done to any of you? Nothing. And you all like disrespect him as a man and as a person, and he deserves your respect because he's a veteran. And it just absolutely disgusts me the way they have no respect for him whatsoever. So she leaves the room. She goes back into bed. Elena comes in. They're talking. In the past 24 hours, Paul has gotten into Elena's head that, if you don't cut Mark loose, then it's not going to be good for you. I don't know how long you're going to last in this game. Every time Paul's trying to manipulate somebody, he talks about the house. It's the house. It's the house. Without being like, well, I'm the puppet master of the house, so they'll do whatever I say. So Paul pretty much like is getting in Elena's head. I thought Elena was smarter than this, especially when they were studying for the HOH. Paul purposely threw her off and put the answer up that it was Miami in her head, not Myrtle Beach, because she was out on that first question of Myrtle Beach. I thought she threw the competition when I watched it on TV, but then after watching the live feed, she's like, "Well, when I studied it with Paul, he was telling me that it was Miami, not Myrtle Beach." Paul purposely screwed her up, and she recognized that, but yet she still is listening to him. So he pretty much told her, like, dude, look, if you stick with Mark, and this was like before all the stuff that happened after the nominations. This was the night before after the HOH. He was like, listen, if you stick with Mark, you're gonna be shunned by everybody. You're associated with Jessica and Cody, and you guys are public enemies #1. So, Elena is kind of in the same situation as Jessica, whereas everybody's trying to tell her, oh, well, we like you, but it's Mark and Cody who have to go, and you girls have social games. You'd be so much better without them. They're dead weight. They're dragging you down. You don't want to lose $500K over a showman's. But the really interesting thing is that Paul's target list is Cody, Elena, Jessica, and Mark. Cody and Elena are numbers 1 and 2, and Elena still thinks that he's her best friend. And she's like, I'm more loyal to you than anyone in the house, more so than Mark, Jessica, anybody. So now Paul, once again, just like Dominique, is targeting his friend, somebody he's worked with for over a month, okay? Somebody that's done everything he wanted, minus vote Josh out, because they didn't let her in on that. So, yeah. So, so much. So, Elena and Jessica are talking this after Jessica left her conversation with Cody. And Elena's like, well, I had a talk with Paul last night, and he told me that Mark is dragging me down in this game and that I need to get away from him, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And they sat there going back and forth. Jessica finally explained to her what the temptation is, that it's going to be a reset week. And Elena's like, well, we're both strong, independent women. We don't need a man. Um, I told Mark that, and Elena and Mark have been fighting a lot lately. She's been telling him, like, you're not good for my game, and he's aware of that, but he has real feelings for her, and I think deep down she has feelings for him, but it's not even about the 500,000, because it's like, everybody else has a solid ally in this game. Jason has Alex, Raven has Matt, Paul has Christmas, like, um, Mark is Elena's ride or die, and she's gonna throw that away, so she's always gonna be an odd one out. Oh, and then Josh and Kevin are considered, like, they could be a twosome. So it's like everybody has an ally in this game, and if Elena distances herself from Mark, she's gonna be the only one by herself, and the rest of them are gonna vote her out. Like, it's so dumb, but it's like Paul's manipulating her, and she can't see that because she thinks that she's talking to loyal Paul from BB18. She's not talking to Paul the Snake from BB19. So when she's talking to Jessica, she's like leaning towards, like, yeah, your game would be better off without Cody. And before Elena and Jessica had this conversation, Elena and Cody were talking. I was watching a different cam, so I didn't see that conversation. But Cody apparently was telling her, like, I don't want to ruin Jessica's game. I've gotten everything I want out of this house. I showed my daughter I could win competitions. Oh, and he told Mark and Elena about his daughter, by the way. He's like, I've shown my daughter I could win competitions. I came back in the battle bag. I've got Jessica, and he's like, I've gotten everything I want out of this house, and I'm ready to go home. He's like, I don't want her to use the hex on me. So Elena's telling Jessica that he doesn't want her to use the hex. Just like, what? And Jess is like, no. Then I would have a hand in his eviction. And so they just sit there talking, and pretty much the same thing, just having girl talk about we're both in the same situation, yada yada. So Elena's like, you shouldn't talk to Cody yet, because Jessica's like, my pride's getting in the way. I want to go talk to him, but my pride is telling me that I need to wait a little longer. And Elena's like, yeah, you need to wait a little longer. Don't go talk to him yet. Let me think of what you should say to him, and then I'll tell you. And then that way enough time will have passed. So Elena runs up to the HOH room. There, all the sheep are in there. She starts telling Paul, like, Cody said he wants to go. Jessica doesn't know what to do. She's aware that he's ruining her game. Elena is such a two-faced fucking cunt. Like, I hate her. Like, if I was Jessica, when I got out of the house, I would punch her in the fucking face at the rap party. Be like, you two-faced bitch. You told them everything I told you not to say. And then I told you in confidence. And it's so funny because everything that Jessica has told for people, she doesn't repeat. But everything that Jessica tells anybody, they repeat. It's like, I hate two-faced fake people. I know it's a game, but it's like, these people this season are taking it too far and making it way too personal. And so Lena, of course, reports back to Master Paul, the one who wants to evict her, and she's number 2 on his target list after Cody's out. Um, Elena starts talking to Paul, telling him everything, and Paul's like, you guys need to work on Jessica. We need to get her not to use the hex. Because if she doesn't use the hex, then Cody goes home this week, and it's not dud week. Like, they do not want her to use the hex. So they devise a plan that Elena's going to talk to her, and then Kevin comes in or somebody, and at this point, Jessica had just gone back in to talk to Cody for a second time. And Kevin's like, oh, well, they're talking. Paul's like, where's Jessica? And Kevin or somebody, I think, was like, oh, well, she's with Cody. They're talking. And Paul's like, fuck. Like, he wanted somebody else to get in her head to tell her not to use the hex before the two of them talked again. So this conversation I loved. And I even rewound it and watched it multiple times. So Jess goes back in. At this point, they're standing up near the door. Cody's like, I want to do whatever it takes to make you happy, but I can't make you happy. This is who I am in the real world. And Jessica's like, Cody, you could change the bad parts of yourself. And he's like, I don't have many friends. I don't talk to my family. He's like, I don't have a girlfriend. There's reasons why. He's like, I'm not a social person. This is who I am. And she's like, but you're not happy like that. And he's like, yeah, I am. And then she hugs him. And when they hugged, it made me tear up. They hugged each other so tight. You could hear their hearts beating. It was the cutest thing. And so they're hugging and they're holding each other, and then they stop hugging, and she's like, I understand that the you who doesn't take crap from anybody and will stand up for me, I understand that that's you, but the aggression over a game, I never want to see you get into a fist fight. And he's like, I would do anything to make you happy. And it's gonna make me cry just talking about it again. It's so cute. He's like, I would do anything to make you happy, Jess. And she's like, okay, you need to try to not be that way. And they kept going in circles for a little bit. And he was like, I can't change who I am. And she's like, even if that means disassociating yourself from me. And he's like, no. They love each other so much. And she's like, I can't have a hand in your eviction. And he's like, it wouldn't be you. He's like, I don't want you to use it on me. It wouldn't be you. It'd be them evicting me. She's like, no, I would have a hand in it. She's like, unless you tell me that you want to go home for your own reasons. He's like, no, I want to go home to save your game. She's like, then I'm using the hex. I can't not use it on you. Well, actually, they hug again, and she whispers in his ear, I can't not use it on you. And she brought up his daughter, will Callie, his baby mama, will she let Paisley watch this episode? And he's like, no. He's like, Jess, don't do that, please. He's like, I know the times when I haven't been a good role model. He's like, I hate even cursing in front of her, and I've messed that up a million times. He was just so, internally hurt, and it's I felt so bad just watching him, and it's she loves him so much genuinely, and it's awesome to watch. And this was my favorite part of the conversation. She's like, ideally, this is what I want. First, for me to stick my foot so far up your ass, figuratively, and twist it. Second, we play veto. Who cares? Then I use the hex. We play HOH. We win. And we start picking them off one by one together. Her whole thing is we've come this far together. We're in this together. And then they hug and kiss, and then they go back in the rose room, get in bed and cuddle. And it's that's all I wanted to come out of one of their mouths was that they have to do this together. If she hadn't used the hex on him, or if she was planning for the rest of the week not to use the hex, I'd be so devastated. So they're better. They're in bed talking. Meanwhile, up in the HOH room, they're all scheming. Again, they're like, Paul's like, we need to get her not to use the hex. That would be the best case scenario. So they're all scheming about how to manipulate her, who's gonna talk to her. They agree Elena and Christmas are gonna take turns talking to her. Elena's like, let me feel her out in the morning. Then they sent spies down. They sent Elena down to see what they were doing because they started getting like material for the veto to study, like announcements about it's like a storm warning, like oh storm Cameron, storm Jillian, stuff like that, and they had to memorize. So they were in the HOH room all studying together, all the sheep. And as they were talking, like in between studying, they were talking crap about Cody and Jessica. And Elena's like, oh, we're downstairs and see what they're doing. So she walks in the Rose bedroom, and they're just in bed sleeping, just chilling. And so when Elena goes back upstairs, she's like, yeah, they're not studying at all. What's the point of them studying? Even if one of them gets vetoed, the other one's going to be on the block and it's going to be you. So what's the fucking point? There is none. Get some sleep. So Paul's like speculating, like, oh, that's great. That means that Cody wants to go home and he's ready to leave. Like, oh, so dumb. And they're all just throwing out hypotheticals at each other, like, well, what if he doesn't? And what if this means that they're either going to use the hex or that he's ready to go home? And they're all devising a sneaky ass little plan for them all to talk to her. Elena is so two-faced in this situation because her and Jessica are supposed to be like real legitimate girlfriends, and for her to like be talking to Jess and get in her ear and get her actual feelings and then just go run back and tell the rest of the house, it's so fake. If only Elena could know what Paul says about her. And just let any of you who live in California know, Paul said a few days ago on the live feeds last season, people would stand outside with a megaphone whenever they're in the yard. People who wanted to like give people information, because like yeah, it's a huge studio, but you can't get arrested for yelling something on a megaphone, and it's like the backyard is open air. So apparently people do go outside the Big Brother house that live in California and stand there with a megaphone, like screaming information. So I live on the East Coast, but if anybody in California wants to go outside the house and start screaming, you all are sheep, Paul is your puppet master, he is playing every single one of you, you need to get Paul out. If somebody will go there and do that, I will love you forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I was even thinking about going on that website, like Fiverr or whatever, where people get paid $5 to do anything you want. But anyways, they'd have to buy a megaphone. That's why I think they wouldn't do it. But yeah. So okay, this video is 42 minutes. I gotta hurry up and wrap it up. So Mark and Elena had a conversation last night about in the HOH room, and Mark is like, listen, it was just the two of them up there, and Elena's explaining to him her dilemma, like, I'm gonna look like an asshole if I abandon you and don't care about your feelings. I'm also gonna look like an asshole if I throw away $500,000 for a showman's. And Mark is like, listen, do whatever you gotta do for your game. I won't take it personally, but just make me a promise. When we get out of here, and I come down to Dallas, you let me take you out and show you what kind of guy I am. Oh, that's so cute. Like, chivalry is not dead by the sounds of that. And so she's like, deal. So, Elena feels a little bit better, that Mark is letting go. And by the way, this was like way before. This was like a couple hours before, but I forgot in which sequence it comes in because I don't take notes while I watch. I just watch, and I just had to get this off my chest because nobody else was talking about it, and my husband doesn't watch it, so he doesn't give a damn. So yeah. So last night, they literally were staying up all night. Raven didn't feel good. Paul's telling them to bring up a pot of coffee so they could all stay up all night studying, which I don't understand the point. Paul's at HOH. They have the numbers, and Jess and Cody literally aren't studying because they don't care. So why do you have to stay up all night studying when one of you is going to get it anyway? It's just dumb. And automatically, Paul and Jason are playing, and then they only picked 2 more players, which eventually ended up being Kevin and someone else. I'm not sure who the 6th veto player was. And they're actually playing veto right now as I film this video. So yeah, what else? So, in the middle of the night last night as they're in bed, they had already fallen asleep after Elena had come in, and Elena went back upstairs to be like, yeah, they're sleeping, they're not studying. I usually put it on quad, and then I have my headphones in my ears, like earbuds, and it's really cool because the right earphone plays one scene, and then the left one plays the other scene, so whichever side of the screen I want to listen to, I just put only that earphone in, and then if I want to switch, I can just switch. But that way I have all 4 cams in front of me and can see if there's an important conversation happening and not miss it. So okay, so while Elena had gone upstairs and she's like divulging to Paul the information again that they're sleeping, they're not studying, um, Jessica tells Cody that people want her to not use the hex on him, and he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, you're surprised?" And he's like, "Who?" And she like wouldn't tell him at first, which is really weird and was annoying me because like, this is your boyfriend. Tell him who's getting in your freaking ear. And he's like, "Who, Jessica?" She's like, "The whole house. The whole house doesn't want me to use it on you." And he's like, "Who? Name names. Who?" And she like wouldn't tell him. Like they went back and forth like, "Who? No, it's okay. The whole house." Like she didn't want to tell him, probably because she didn't want him to go flip out on anybody else again. But he wanted to know because it's like, you're my girlfriend. Tell me what's going on. So, finally she's like, "Well, Paul, Christmas." She's like, "Elena was talking to me," but Elena, like, Jess considers Elena her actual friend. So it's like, when Elena's saying things, Jess, like, sees it as a warning. So when Elena's like, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't use the hex," Jess is like, "Oh, well, Elena's warning me that the whole house doesn't want me to use the hex." You know what I mean? It's like, she's not seeing that Elena is a snake as well, just like Paul, and that she's a two-faced backstabby bitch. So anyways, so Cody's like really mad about that they're already conspiring to try to get in his girlfriend's head. He's like, "What did you say when Paul said that?" And she's like, "I didn't say anything. I just stood there with like a blank look on my face," which she did every time she was talking to Paul. She just stood there like this, not smiling, not frowning, not doing anything. So, she tells him that the HOH room, they're up all night studying, repeating the same shit, which got really annoying to freaking listen to, about storms and speeds and blah, 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 blah. And so, Jess and Cody go back to sleep, and everybody's in the HOH room. Christmas and Elena make a plan to take on Jess today. Elena's like, "Let me talk to her in the morning, let me feel her out." Then they're all like, "Maybe we should bring her up here when all of us are up here and tell her she's going to be safe." Like, how are you going to tell her? Okay, you have all the house gifts in the room, the HOH room, minus Jess and Cody. So you're going to pull Jessica upstairs to the entire rest of the house, and literally everybody, and you're going to tell her, if you get rid of Cody this week and don't use the hex, I promise you're not the target next week. But you're saying that with every other house guest in the room. Not like there's like 3 or 4 house guests that aren't in this meeting. You're saying it with everybody in there. So who would be your target? If you have all the house guests in there on your side telling this girl, "No, you wouldn't be our target next week." Aside from her, if Cody hypothetically were to leave this week, but that's not going to happen, but if he would, who, like, who would be your target? There's not that many people left. Like, common sense. Like, I don't get it. If I was in that house, I would be questioning Paul. I would not accept any, "Oh, the house doesn't want me to say it," or any of that nonsense that he comes up with. I would be demanding answers. So, pretty much today, they continue to study for the veto competition. Jess and Cody were just cuddling in the APSR. Cody's had a couple conversations with Christmas when he's in the kitchen cooking. And and also last night when Mark was up there too, because at first like Mark wasn't involved in the conversations about trying to get Jessica not to use the hex, but then when he was like, "Yeah," because Paul's like, "It'd be better for your game too if Cody wasn't here." Mark's like, "Yeah, I agree." Like, they're just so fucking two-faced. Like, grow a pair of balls. Elena, get some gosh darn common sense. I'm sorry, Lord. And like, figure out that you're being played. You are being played and lied to and manipulated. This season is either going to go all the way to the end and Paul's going to win $500,000 because they're all his super fans and his sheeple, or one of them is going to realize that he is playing everybody and they're going to take him out. And I pray to God that happens sooner rather than later. I would love after it's reset week, I would love to see Jess and Cody. Jess and Cody have to win HOH. They have to win HOH. Production, if you see this, please rig it so Jess and Cody win HOH. Please, I'm begging you. So Jess and Cody have to win this HOH. If they did, I say they put up Paul, they put up Alex, and they put up Jason. No, they can't put up 3 people. They put up Paul and Alex. That way Paul is up there. Ready? That way Paul's up there, because if for some reason they didn't win the veto, like, just too many things happen. At least Paul's up there, okay? And he might not win the veto. So if Paul's on the block next to Alex, no. I would put Paul and Raven on the block. And if I won the veto, and if Jess won the veto, or Cody won the veto, and they didn't use it, then everything would be fine. Paul would go home, because, you know, nobody's going to vote out Paul over poor sweet Raven, when she's really not as sweet as she looks. I can't stand Raven. I think she's fake as hell, and I think that she over-exaggerates her disease, which is not a terminal disease, by the way. She's completely lying about that, which is pathetic, to lie about your medical condition in the house, because then it's like that is going to cast a shadow of doubt on any future players that have a real medical condition and bring it up for sympathy. So I think that's just really inconsiderate to anybody that has a medical condition, and is offensive to people that are terminal and dying of their illness. So, okay. So if Jess and Cody win HOH next week, which they have to on Thursday when it's reset, they need to put up Paul and Raven. That way, say the veto doesn't come into play and it's not used, Paul is going home. If Paul wins and pulls himself off, they could put up Alex, because I hate that little troll, and they could get her out. They should have done this last week when they had all the power. They didn't, though. They made a big move first week. It screwed them. They tried to play nice with the house. It screwed them. So, either way, you know, but guys, that's what's been happening. It has been a crazy 24 hours. The backstabbing, and just the fact that, like, they are literally trying to get Jessica to have a hand in Cody's eviction is insane to me, and I cannot believe that no other updaters have updated it and put anything out there about it, so I just had to. Sorry this video is 51 minutes long, but I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you like me, this is not my permanent channel. I'm trying to figure that out. However, when I do, my channel name, my username will be Reality Ally, RealityAlly. Again, YouTube deleted my channel that had over 1,000 subscribers and screwed me, because I wrote like spam tags in my video descriptions, which I didn't know you weren't allowed to do. So now this channel is under my husband's name, but I don't think I can monetize anything. So it's just really freaking annoying. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just wanted to put this out there for all my other super fans. Sorry if my timeline isn't perfect. I didn't take notes. I just wanted to put this out there because I know people wait for spoilers and for informational live feeds, and nobody else has, like I said, nobody else has released this. So just want to put it out there. Hope you guys like it, and have a great summer. Mwah! Keep an eye out for me. Write down my name and bookmark this video so you can find me again. Bye.